Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this video about St Swithun's Church at Headbourne Worthy. What a beautiful morning it is for it too. I've taken some photographs, a little bit of video around the site. I thought I wasn't going to be able to get inside, but great fortune, while I was filming, the warden turned up and unlocked the church for the day. So I was able to get in and take some footage in there, which he was happy for me to do. But yeah, what a beautiful place. I mean, I've read the entry from Arthur Mee's King's England, so that'll fill you in on some of the history of the place. But it's an old Saxon church, and there's a lot of evidence of that, which I've tried to capture. I hope I have. But it's in such a wonderful setting: chalk rivers, willow trees, some lovely footpaths going off, and so close to Winchester. And being so close to Winchester, I've just gone in and taken a few photographs as well around and about there, which I'll stick on at the end of the video. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying this series on beautiful churches in Hampshire. This one's going to be hard to beat, coming second in the playlist, but I'll see what I can do for the future ones. So yeah, I've as I said, I've read the passage from Arthur Mee's King's England. And I've also read a short passage from the Biker Bible, because I thought that was a nice tie-in, given the location, and it's the Biker Bible. So, you know, that's what that is. It's a personal thing, but I hope you don't mind me just tying that in with this location. Anyway, enjoy the video, and I will catch you in the next one. So, in his book, The King's England, this one, Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, Arthur Mee talks about so many villages and towns in the respective county. And here we are at Headbourne Worthy, almost within sound of Winchester, separated from the road by a brook, is one of the oldest churches in Hampshire. Here, before the Conqueror landed at Hastings. It has its Saxon witnesses inside and out. On the outer walls are the narrow pilaster strips of these old masons, keeping company with much younger buttresses and windows, one buttress being hollowed so that we may see the Saxon long and short work in the wall. Inside, in a room built onto the end of the church in the 15th century, are the remains of what must have been a noble work of art when the sculptor stepped back to look at it 1,000 years ago. It is on the wall, above a perfect little Saxon doorway, a sculpture of the Crucifixion, whose figures were destroyed by order of a bishop of Winchester soon after the Reformation. So battered are they now that hardly more than their shadowy outline can be seen. Yet it is thought that in medieval times this two-storied room was built to preserve their sanctity and to save them from the wind and rain that had already beaten against them for 500 years. On the floor of this room are some medieval tiles, and in one of the windows is a 15th century portrait of St Matthew brought from a Devon village. The 13th century gave the church its plain font, the sedilia, and a tall piscina with a lovely canopy. In the chancel there are 3 stone seats of at least 500 years old, a window of which the lower portion was once unglazed and closed with a wooden shutter. On the wall is the brass portrait of a 15th century scholar, a Winchester boy wearing the long and simple gown of the school of his time, and standing with joined hands, a flame-like scroll issuing from his lips, with the words, "I will sing the mercies of the Lord forever." Below is an inscription telling us that he is John Kent, who went to Winchester School in 1431 and died there in 1434. An attractive modern brass portrait shows a naval officer's wife of the 19th century. The church, which has a mast dial for telling time in the days before clocks, has 2 bells which have come down from about 1380 and one made about 1420, so that it possesses some of the oldest of Hampshire's iron singers. The very original modern pulpit, with its 2 carved heads and delicate tracery, is the beautiful work of John Henry Slessor, who was rector for 44 years. In the graveyard, among lawns like velvet in front of the chancel, is the plain table tomb of Joseph Bingham, a fine old scholar of Stuart days, who made for himself by his book on Christian antiquities. He was sometime rector here and was ruined by the South Sea bubble, the forerunner of the huge financial swindles of later times, in which financiers took over part of the national debt, forced £100 shares up to £1,000, and ruined vast numbers of people. Well, that's a cheery note to end it on, isn't it? But what a wonderful entry for Headbourne Worthy, St Swithun's Church. Thought it'd be nice just to read a passage from each location, which I pick pretty much at random. And last night I picked one for here, and that is 2 Corinthians 9, verse 6 to 8. Remember this saying: a few seeds make a small harvest, but a lot of seeds make a big harvest. Each of you must make up your own mind about how much to give, but don't feel sorry that you must give, and don't feel that you are forced to give. God loves people who love to give. God can bless you with everything you need, and you will always have more than enough to do all kinds of good things for others.
The Sorrow Explorer